Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at Zombie Driver HD. This is the PC port of a 2009 Android game. You might be able to have guessed that with the black bars on the side. It's a simplistic game, so a lot of the options are in their own configuration file. The configuration program you have to run separately, but we'll see if, since the screen size does point to all the edges, if the actual game stretches out and it's just a menu. I'll be playing this with a Xbox One gamepad controller, and so that means we'll be mostly speeding up and slowing down with the left and right trigger, and there's a handbrake on the left bump. There's a recovery button with the back button, fire, nitro, map in story mode, and handbrake, I believe, again on the X button. So that seems like that's a decent layout and good keyboard support. Good controller support. The only thing I would say is that while you do have controller support inside this menu, the layout of it is not particularly suited for that. This is clearly a menu designed for a tab screen. So in concept, the idea of a game where you drive a car around running over and shooting at zombies is interesting. It's a concept we've seen in other games as a gameplay like break mechanic, something that you would do when most of the game is a first-person shooting of zombies. So it might get a little bit tiring after a while. That would be one concern on this. Otherwise, the only real concerns would be there was a lot of downloadable content that I got a bunch of skins for. I don't see a way to really turn them or use them. This is completely single player, so why there is a tournament mode and then a free-for-all slaughter mode on top of the story mode is a little interesting. You have advertisements for the next game that just would pop up the Steam overlay. Same is true for the achievements and the downloadable content. And I wouldn't be surprised if the leaderboards are mostly full of just people who cheated the leaderboards, or if the leaderboards are completely empty. There's really not a lot to say here. Like the last game I played, iZombie, it's really going to come down to the gameplay mechanic. This looks nice to start with. You have a story mode, so you're going to want something. You have kind of like a motion comic being shown. The idea, this is interesting because they're not saying anything. This works in any language. It feels like this is going to be half Crazy Taxi, half zombie.
I have no idea how you managed to survive, son, but I'm damn glad you did. The army has been sent here to quarantine the city, and we were given strict orders not to try any more rescue attempts because of some bureaucracy bullshit. I can't let you out of the city, and I can't move in with my troops. But if you can help me save some innocent lives, then I might spare some guns and an afterburner for your car. We have just received a transmission by the emergency satellite phone in the City Hall building that the mayor and his men are still barricaded in there. They should know more about the situation in the city and point us to other survivors. The mayor was totally pissed about his city being destroyed and said that he will personally reward anyone for decreasing the zombie population.
So this looks pretty polished for an Android phone. And remember, this is a 2009 Android game, so this would have been sort of in the first or second generations of Android games, where a zombie game in 2019 is almost guaranteed to be a low effort garbage game that nobody should bother to play, full of ads and microtransactions, almost assuredly. Maybe an HD version we got the voice acting and that wasn't in the original game. if it was in the original game. That is very commendable. It's very nice to hear somebody say something, just even a small paragraph or 3 of dialogue is pretty great. It's nice to be the good guy. We've got rewards here. And then a secondary objective. Let's see, kill 275 zombies. They're circling it in red or underlining the important parts in red, so you don't even have to read if you don't want to. The only thing I was gonna say is that it is kind of ridiculous. Interesting that they're showing me the keyboard controls. This looks good.
We've sent some rescue teams into the city, but most of them didn't return. And now we're blocked by government orders. If you drive fast enough, you should be able to break through to any remaining survivors. Fire!
So, it's kind of ridiculous to think zombies would ever come from the grave. And just like start that way. It would be much more realistic to believe that zombies would come from a disease, but then inherently I guess that, let's see, ooh, I don't have any guns right now, so I'm just getting clicking sounds. So this is probably the beginnings of, and you can see in the lower left is counting down the number of zombies, not counting up. So, yep, so far so good. It seems like this is working. We could look at the map, but I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to read the map. Seems like doing damage to the city probably shouldn't have any effect. And apparently I got a nice combo for just running into a bunch, but it is kind of slowing me down.
Finally, someone showed up. We tried to evacuate, but this piece of crap won't start. The evacuation chopper is coming, but it's gonna be too late unless you kill all these zombies. I've unlocked the emergency National Guard armory for you. Grab any weapon you like. Just kill them quickly.
So, let's see. Now we've got some kind of bullets. There's no like aiming this though, so the guns are really just on the sides of your car, and that is that. Let's see. Here we got some zombie dogs attacking. One assumes these cars are bulletproof, and we have a full amount we're having to deal with here. So there's like one more guy. There's one more zombie dog. Nice that the game helps you and you're not stuck in a scenario where you're driving around looking for that last zombie that might be stuck behind a wall. This would be probably a little awkward to play on an Android phone, frankly, and in all honesty it still is kind of it is kind of just, this is the one I wanted, was the flamethrower. I apparently do have some kind of health that I need to keep in mind. Secondary objective completed, and now we are driving our way. Now you're not going to just be able to drive through anything, so we're trying to get back to the base. In 2009, this would have been kind of a hard sell to make this a console game. It probably was somewhere in the world of the Xbox Live Arcade type content. So do you just stay here? Yep. It's a small enough type game that it would be fun for the up to 5 hours that you play it without being a major commitment. And really, even so far, it's been satisfactory enough.
Just spotted with help and SOS signs on the roofs. I received this information from a helicopter team that I've sent to rescue some kids from a school just before our actions were halted by a government order. We need to gather
They're even showing you a picture of the objectives.
So if the people in these houses are still alive, they should be able to provide very useful information. You must go and rescue any survivors that may be left in these buildings. One of those houses supposedly belongs to a cartooning maniac, so he might have a nice ride for you if you manage to rescue him. We need information fast. We'll throw in a bonus if you can do it quick.
So it wants us to do it in 5 minutes or less. Alright. So here's another point where a touchscreen makes a lot more sense, but it's a nice secondary mechanic. By the way, they put the mouse cursor up here, and then as soon as I moved the mouse, it moved it back down to the corner where I put it. So, skins wise, I think I've bought all of these, but I'm not sure that... Yeah, it kind of feels like you would start with Taxi normally, and that would be it. But you can kind of jump up in ease pretty quickly and pay to win. So let's just play with this. We have 10,000, which would be speed, ramming, and armor. We could boost our nitro, which we didn't use any of, or you could have way more speed with more ramming and more nitro. Yeah, let's just stick with this though. So upgrade that and upgrade that, and then let's see if the car paint skins. Yeah, seems like we can change those. Yeah, not much here, but this is kind of nice customization until you realize that they almost certainly made me pay more for this game than it was worth because of these skins. So yeah, I should probably take that under consideration. And yeah, it doesn't seem like I have enough money to upgrade anything else. So this is all going to be about getting more money. Alright, so it started as soon as the game was here. So this is kind of the same area, so we're gonna have to be a little careful. I'm just trying to find where I'm supposed to be. I really just drove right across this. So we have to kill all the zombies in the area. Which just, without a gun, like, seems difficult to say the least. What happened to our gun? Oh, there it is. It's the A button. I'm a little awkwardly in the wrong. Right. And now I'm having turning issues.
You the real taxi driver? Yes, I'm talking to you. Just kidding, man. Thanks for the rescue.
Yeah, the boost being B, and then the A being the shoot button is just a little different than what you would probably expect if you're kind of used to playing a first-person shooter, where the right trigger would be the shoot button. It is a slightly awkward combination between seems like more zombies are getting encouraged to enter an area, and so it becomes a weird issue there.
Wow, I always thought the army would come to rescue us, but hell, a taxi is even more rad. Just get us out of here. Take the keys to my ride. I hope you can squash some of those zombies with it.
Seems like we're getting some hippies. Drive back now to the base, which, yeah, it really does feel like we are going to end up going in circles. And that secondary objective failed. Probably could have done that had I remembered the right buttons. I suspect there aren't too many of these missions, maybe 10, and then you probably would want to play the game multiple times to upgrade multiple cars, although I doubt you specifically are going to want to play it to upgrade every card.
Reports about large groups of zombies coming from the eastern part of the suburbs. The numbers are far too high, taking that area's population into account. A civilian plane crashed in that zone shortly after the outbreak, and we don't know if anyone survived the impact. The zombies might be spawning there from the wreckage, or there might be something even worse happening there. You have to go there and assess the situation before it gets out of control. As soon as you return, I will be able to present you with a vehicle-mounted flamethrower so you can get those buggers sizzling.
So they want me to finish this mission in less than 4 minutes this time, so these are really short missions. I get the feeling, though, that we're only going to spend time in this one city, and the city's probably not going to open up much more than it already has. And it probably is a case of a game that, okay, so our upgrades worked on everything, so we can drive any car we want, and it's only going to slightly affect our appearance. So if we get this sports car with more armor, that's fine. So that does immediately make it easier to... Do I not have enough gold or what? There's only 2 paints on this. I don't understand why it's blinking, and yet it seems like it's not willing to lock that in. Maybe Maybe that's just a mistake. Like, when I highlight over here, maybe that just means I've unlocked the ability to purchase this, but like I can't really read this because I'm sitting so far away. My TV is 10 feet away on the other side, so maybe that says 1800 and I only have 1300. That would have to be my guess. Yeah, it seems like you only have one city here, and then you run into the inevitable problem of a entire marketplace kind of just falling apart, as the Android marketplace kind of did. It wouldn't really have made sense for them to try to make a zombie driver 2, because by the time 2009, if this came out in 2009, by the time 2011 had happened, I bet there was hundreds, if not thousands of, oh, that's cool. Wasn't expected that.
Out the corpses from the crash site. Quickly, kill it before it grows any bigger.
See, so now we're going into kind of a Resident Evil scenario where it's not strictly sticking to recognizable zombies, and instead is giving us a straight up boss that seems to be content at throwing things at me. Let's just ram this guy and see what happens. That problem here. Even if I'm a really good shot, I'm gonna run out of bullets pretty quickly. And fighting a guy like this is like I'm about to die. I need to find some health. Is there anything in the map that would point towards health? There we go. Small amount of health. So it's kind of moved forward and moved backward, and try to avoid getting hit by his attacks. Run around and look and see if you can find some health pieces in there. And you can see there's water on the edges of the city, so it's a pretty small map. In a funny way, if this was an asset flip game, it's done a good job with those assets. The problem is getting this into something better, like stretching this out so this could have been a full game, or just have more maps and more variety. And I could be wrong. There could be 10 cities that are very sprawling and large.
We're lucky you got here in time. Who knows how large this thing would have grown?
Although I imagine there really is only one city, and then the rest of the game is... Oh, I'm about to respawn. Oh, I didn't realize I respawned. You do respawn, but not with much health. So it's not a solution to your health problems. Can I go through this wall? No, you have to drive around. They've intentionally made this city a little bit more windy than a well laid out city. This is hardly a New York grid style city. And we didn't move fast enough again. They want me to go somewhere different. Over here. Yeah. The fact that there's a slaughter mode and a tournament mode in single player makes it seem like that there's probably not that much of a single player mode. And I'll try each one of those modes once, I suppose. But then that's going to be kind of it. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything really special about this game that would have you come back and play it a lot. And unfortunately, that really probably encourages.
The Army's hands are tied. You are making your country proud, and once again, it needs your help. We've lost contact with the rescue chopper that I've sent to evacuate the kids from the school. I fear the worst. We need to get those soldiers and kids safely back home. The mayor said you can try to liberate his white limousine from his mansion not far from the school. If you can clear out the zombies in that area, the ride is yours.
So, I could imagine you could make like a desert area also, and you could make maybe a more coastal area also. Go with some different regions, and instead of just like urban, a heavily forested area. You could try to have maps like that and not just have different cities, but I don't think there's much more you could do with this. And unfortunately, because of the way Android games and cell phone games went, there's much more of an encouraging force to tell the creators of this game to just make a Zombie Driver 2 or make some other game or have somebody else beat them to the ticket, beat them to the point, and make another Zombie Driver game. There's been probably, if you typed in Zombie Driver now in a cell phone, you probably get 1 million different responses. Alright, so as this is the way the mission select works, you don't know how far this goes unless there was something that told you. So yeah, if you look at the leaderboards, you go up and up until we see the maximum number, and they're already up to 15, which is more than I thought. But in all honesty, in less than 30 minutes I've gone through 3 levels. Yep. This is kind of the problem with Taxi Rydo too. It's like Taxi Driver, the Sega Dreamcast game or arcade game. 30? That's more than I thought. Alright. So you get 31 levels, which, okay, that seems like a reasonable amount, but then that's pretty much going to be it. And then the blood race, which I assume would be a tournament. I don't know if I'd really want to do a whole tournament. We'll start a tournament, and then slaughter, which is probably just you driving against other AI, since this is a single player only game. So I'm not expecting too much, other than if there are 30 levels, we're probably going to run into 10 bosses, which is cool. Dead Rising is a similar game that in theory is really, really fun, but in practicality was not something I ever really wanted to play all the way through because it was just so long. So Zombie Driver in comparison might be better than that because it's just short and sweet. And that's what we're looking for, is a short and sweet experience. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, you can support me through Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.